Hey man.
Hey Thomas, how are you?
Oh, doing fine, doing fine. You?
I'm doing good. How was your day so far?
Oh, it's really hot here in Sweden. So I'm sitting inside with fans turned on, like, but it's
So the
good.
weather,
It's good.
so weather is really terrible out there in Europe.
Yeah, it's a heat wave.
That should be crazy. So, Thomas, on July 2nd, you released your album Nightmare of Being. So, can you tell me a bit about the songwriting and the production behind the album?
Well, I mean, we were going into a songwriting period anyway, when the whole world shut down.
Yeah,
So for us, it became our little creative escape a little bit to work on the record. It was very comforting to have something like that to go back to
yeah,
during the whole mess. And it actually gave us more time to focus on the writing and make the album probably more evolved than any other Gates record. And we had the idea to go in to do bigger, more cinematic, more layered, more textured, dynamic record anyways. But now we had all the focus and time in the world to do it. So I think you can hear that in the result that it's so
yeah.
much more of everything.
Absolutely, absolutely. Sounds awesome. And talking about the cover art of the album, it's something very interesting. There's a lot of darkness involved in it. So, can you tell me a bit about the art in it?
Well, we worked for the first time together with the Dutch artist Eva Nahon,
Hmm.
um, which I've been a big fan of her art. And I was very happy that she agreed to participate
Yeah,
in the project. And basically, I sent her all the lyrics, all the music, and like an outline about the concept of the record.
yeah.
And the only thing I said about the actual, what I wanted on the cover
Mhm.
was that it should be like if you would step into a world, like you would be somewhere else than in your normal life when you looked at the record. And she came back with this amazing big piece that is extraordinary, that really transports you somewhere else.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And is it some kind of concept that you have put behind this album?
Yeah, I read up a lot on pessimist philosophy before this album.
Yeah,
It was something I was intrigued by, and I didn't know much about. So I wanted to learn more, and I guess what you hear, what you read with the lyrics on the record is kind of my journey trying to understand this philosophy, my emotional journey with that. And some parts I was very intrigued by and could relate to. And those parts are also included on the record, so to say, but it deals with the whole idea of pessimism.
sounds good. Sounds good. And whenever there is a media press release about At the Gates, it always states like Thomas wants more darkness into his albums. So, is there any particular reason that you have a craving towards this darkness kind of things?
I think music deserves lyrics that go with the music. And the music of At the Gates has a lot of melancholy and desperation uh, as emotions within the music. So I guess I'm just trying to bring those emotions also into my words, and before every record, me and Jonas sit down and talk about it. Which kind of emotions are we talking about this time? And he said that he saw this album as a very big, vast landscape and very dark and melancholic. And I was like, okay, great. If I put the idea of pessimist philosophy in there together, this could be really cool. And of course, it is super dark, but I guess you need the dynamics
Yeah.
to actually see the darkness, and then there is actually also like some hope in the record as well.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And I listened to the album and I really loved the album. It was super amazing, and everything you have put into the album is perfectly done. I really enjoyed it. But when it comes to the guests, like when you go and ask anybody, they always talk about Slaughter of the Soul, Slaughter of the Soul. But do you think this album can supersede that thing?
It's very hard to think like the idea of what will the fans think, and I think as soon as you start thinking like that, trying to please the fans, that's when you fail as a band, then you probably won't be true to yourself. And I really believe that the listeners to At the Gates out there are interested and intrigued and curious. They want us to evolve now, because they gave up on getting a Slaughter of the Soul Part 2. And I think they also realized that such an album wouldn't be true to ourselves. And I think this album is kind of like a little bit of a rebirth. The band sounds hungry. Once again, the same hunger as we had on Slaughter of the Soul. It just sounds different.
Yeah.
But I think we will always live with that legacy, and we are fine with that. It's no problem.
Sounds good to me. And so At the Gates goes way back to the 90s. So it's been like many years have gone by. And how has the musical journey has been for you?
Well, I think the band in different eras a little bit,
Yeah.
And I guess the very early years we were super experimental and going everywhere, having 20 riffs in a song and trying everything. And then we started working slowly to compress that into shorter, more streamlined songs. And that ended with Slaughter of the Soul,
Yeah.
That's the end of that part, because you couldn't take that any further. You couldn't do it more, The next record would just sound basically the same, and that would be pointless, So when we came back as a band, we with that War with Reality, we wanted to make something that was true to all the different eras of the band. It should be a little bit experimental and progressive. We should look in new directions while still maintaining the parts that were essential to us with the music. And I think now with the third comeback record, I think we are finally there where we can incorporate the progressive elements in a better way than we could back in the early 90s, because now we have more maturity as songwriters.
Yes.
We know more about orchestration and dynamics and such. So I think this is really how we wanted the band to sound like from the beginning, but we were not capable of something like this.
Sounds good. And being one of the biggest death metal band from Sweden, and how do you feel about it? And you have a global reach, like almost every part of the world knows you, know you guys, and you've been doing amazing music throughout these years. So how do you feel about the total thing about the music that you have delivered so far?
It is almost a little bit dangerous to think like that as a musician, and also as a human being. We are very humble and down-to-earth people, and we still have our day jobs, and that's for a reason, actually, to keep our feet on the ground, and also to not make our music be the main income. We don't want that because, subconsciously maybe we change our music to have more income, and we don't want that. So it should be a hobby, like a side interest. And that's how we always saw it. And we never really had any big goals, as a band. But our goal when we started the band was to record a demo that people liked. And everything after that has just been a bonus. But we feel very lucky where we are, and we have a great fan base that we are very happy about. And we are proud to be part of this Swedish tradition, as you talked about.
Yes, sounds good. And what would be the next plans for touring?
Well, we still have some shows left this year that have not been cancelled or postponed so far. So these shows might still happen. I think there's a Belgian festival, a Norwegian festival, and a Mexican festival that is going to happen. But then we started to book new shows from December and onwards, because we feel that by that time it is probably more probable that the shows will happen, because you work hard on putting the shows together and logistics and buying plane tickets and stuff like that, and then you have to cancel them, So we are waiting a little bit longer, actually, but maybe it's good, because this album has a lot more stuff going on, you know. So maybe the people need a few months to dissect it before they can appreciate the songs live, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And did you put some kind of release party or some kind of session on the day on July 2nd when you released the album?
Well, on July 3rd, we had a YouTube live streaming event thing where I chatted with the fans online. I think that's as close as we get to having a release party. But that was right during the football, the Euro Cup.
Oh, yeah.
So I was chatting and watching the TV at the same time. We didn't have any big shows or anything like that, but I kept in contact with the fans as much as I could on those 2 days.
That's so nice.
Which felt great, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And can you share some of the greatest moments that you had over the years?
Well, there's been so much. I guess being a more adventurous kind of band, it's very fulfilling and rewarding when people appreciate what you do, because it's not easy music to listen to, you know. It's pretty challenging. So, but I think our biggest achievement, like in our kind of career, it would be the comeback to do At War with Reality so for a long time after Slaughter of the Soul, and that those songs are still in demand when we play them live. You know, they want to hear those songs, the people, and I think that's really cool that we managed to do that. It was a huge project and a bit nervous before releasing that record.
That's good. Sounds good. And do you take music as being in a band as a competition or as a passion? You are doing it for the music?
No, for us, it's definitely a passion. I mean, because we're not getting any younger, you know, and playing death metal at the age of almost 50, I think you need to be passionate. Otherwise, there's no reason to do this, you know, because there's really no money and fame or whatever. It's just about appreciating the music, and to do it on such a scale, to do this kind of album with, you know, all the progressive elements and everything. It's a lot of work, so we have to be passionate about it. It's really important for us. Otherwise, we would not be here, you know.
And do you have a dream country where you really have never been before, and you want to go there and play for the people there? Is there any such country that you want to go?
I mean, there's a lot of countries that we haven't visited. We have visited a lot of them, but some are still white spots on the map, so to say. I mean, we never played in Africa, for example. We never played in like Middle East or you know, anywhere from basically Palestine to India. Basically, there we haven't played. You know, so there's a lot of places that are still white for us there, which would be really cool to go to sometime. You know?
Yeah, that'd be amazing. That'd be amazing. And finally, what would be the message you want to give for the fans?
Well, I want to thank them for all the support throughout the years, but especially now with the new record. They got a very challenging record, and the response from the fans and the reviews and the sales actually as well have been very surprisingly good, the best for At the Gates since the comeback. So we are very happy with where we are right now, and it's thanks to all of you guys.
Thank you. And Thomas, thank you so much for putting up an amazing album that is Nightmare of Being this year. And it's been a great album. Like, I think most of the people will start appreciating when they start listening more and more to the music. And thank you so much for giving us the music. And thank you for everything At the Gates has been giving to the musical fraternity over the years. And thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much, man. It's been great. I'll see you sometime, okay?
Surely, Thomas. Take care.
Be safe.
You too. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.